One thing that might be misunderstood or misrepresented is it's new. AI is not new.
We are trying to implement that SAM model in the public domain as well.
We started building Nepal Sambat App, and Arun was working with like different community leaders to build that on. Nepal Sambat is not the calendar of only Newa people.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spiralogics podcast, where we explore frontiers of technology and innovation. I'm Nisha Paudel, Communications Manager at Spiralogics. And today, I have a very special guest with me, two key figures of Spiralogics, CTO, CEO of Spiralogics, Saunak Ranjitkar, then Senior Technology Manager and Solutions Architect, Arun Thapa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nisha.
So, Spiralogics is a global tech company where it tailors software solutions to meet the different needs of customer, uh, and with a major focus on healthcare industry. So, okay, so let's get started. First of all, again, welcome to the show and thank you for joining us today. Um, so, first of all, I want to ask Sonak. So your role, you are a CTO and CEO of Spiralogics, right? So can you tell us a bit about your role? What exactly those two titles like involves in Spiralogics?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the question, Nisha, and I'm very glad to be talking with you over here today. And yes, I have two roles. One is CTO. So, as a Chief Technology Officer, my main job and my main role is to lead Spiralogics in the frontier of technology and innovate through it and push our talent pool in the field of technology. So that's my main goal as a CTO. Whereas as a COO or Chief Operating Officer, my job and role is to maintain and assure the smooth operations of the global operations. So basically, making sure that things move from point A to point B. So that way, they are dual roles, but I've been having very fun doing both of them at the same time.
Okay, so those two roles, like, is there ever a time where you are in a conflict, like when making decisions? Like,
Yeah.
do you think from a CEO point of view, or do you think from a CTO? So, is there ever a time where you have that conflict within yourself as well when you're making any decision?
Yeah. Actually, many different times. So recently, so I want to, as a CTO, I wanted to invest in a very talented individual, to get into the company and perform well on that side. But as a CEO, I also need to make sure that hey, getting that talent pool will that be a just I will that be a just investment into the company, and will that the return of investment is there or not. So I have to think from the both sides, not just from the one end. But that's what makes it more challenging, and that's what makes it more appropriate in a sense. But because in a software company like ours, which is very dependent on the technology and the people around technology, it's very important that the technology officer is as well equipped to run the operations from his own perspective than depending on somebody else's guidance or restrictions, and the same for the vice versa.
So we'll talk more about the talent and the challenges of when we have to make the decision when we hire a talent. But before that, I want to go to Arun. So you're the senior technology manager and solutions architect, right? So can you tell us a bit about your role and maybe a bit about like Sonak, uh, he he has that dual role, right? And I understand that you also lead a team, right? So, is there ever a time where you also face certain challenges that are specific to your team? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure, thank you, Nisha. Okay, so like you said earlier, right? I have two role, and first thing is solution architect, right? Which I enjoy the most. So for that role, I have to do day to day. I have to make day to day decisions regarding the technology as well as the architecture of the application, right? So mostly I deal with the architecture and software, both software and enterprise architecture of the application, right? So that's the first part. And another most challenging part is the technology side, right? Technology management side, right? For that, basically, to explain it in a simple word, I have to be the provider. Like I have to give a good environment to the teams that we have, so that they can fluster there, so that they can perform their tasks. I mean, um, easier, right? So that's the two different distinct and different role that I perform right now. And the conflicting thing is, again, so like Sonak said, I mean, as a management role, I have to play two different roles. Sometimes good cop, sometimes bad cop. That is the most challenging part of my job right now. And architecture side, I mean, that's something I like to do, and I enjoy that.
Mm. Okay. So just of some fun facts for the viewers. So when I joined Spiralogics, so Arun was the one who took my interview, and then Sonak also took my interview in the final round. So when I joined, right, which was 6 7 years back, team was fairly large, you could say, but it was not as much as
Yeah.
we had now. So let's say there was around, maybe we've grown by probably 50% than what we had, right?
Right.
So, and then after that, we had pandemic, right? So when I joined, we used to go to office, we used to work with the team, but after that, in the last 3 or 4 years, that has changed, right? So um, I wanted to ask you, as a CTO
Mhm.
or as CEO, what particular challenge that have you seen
Mhm.
in the recent year? Like any challenges that maybe you might not have anticipated, or
Mhm.
maybe um, that you might not have experienced 6 7 years back? Is there any particular challenge
In
um,
regards to.
in regards to in the recent years after post
Mhm.
pandemic? And the same question to Arun as well. Like, what are the specific challenges? Maybe you might have, or maybe you might have anticipated, because knowing you, you are a good planner. Like you plan, everything, and you have that, that clarity in thinking forward, like for the future. So,
Right, right. No, I mean, I basically agree with that. I mean, so you're talking about post-pandemic, right? So, so before I go into the challenges, I would like to also, state the fact that the pandemic, even though we struggled through it, it also gave back some good things. Like, for example, I had been trying to inject the culture of work from home in Spiralogics for a long time, but I wasn't successful. In pandemic, we didn't have any choice but to do that. But the good thing is we were well planned. We had the resources. We had the policies and procedures in place that made that happen. And when we had to go in, our productivity has actually increased. So that was a good thing about that. But post pandemic, if you if I have to think on uh, certain challenges, yeah, challenges are always there, right? So without challenges, it will never be fun. So if I have to pick, one of the major challenge has been, again, revolves around the same thing. Now, like most of us work from home, right? And one of the challenges is, yes, when you work from home, the productivity is increasing, the work is getting done, great. But what is missing is that human connection, the human touch, right? The because our the soul of the company at Spiralogics is we are built around people, for people, by people, right? And but after post pandemic, it's becoming like we might be missing out a little bit on our emotional intelligence, because we are treating our colleagues as our colleagues, not as friends as we used to before. Because even in this trip, I realized, like, I was meeting many of them for the first time. So for me, it was normal. But even the friends who were in Nepal, even they, some of them were meeting for the first time with each other. And many people did not know each other as well personally, but professionally, they knew each other very well. So that's the little bit of gap and the challenge that I'm seeing right now as post-pandemic cultural shock, I would say, and that's the challenge I have in front of me, and I'm thinking of ways to mitigate it as soon as possible.
Okay. So what about you, Arun? Have you seen
Yeah,
something similar?
mostly the same. I agree what Sonak said, but I'd like to emphasis more on the implementation part. Okay, so then we had all the policies in place. Okay, and the pandemic happened, and everyone were working from the home, right? The first challenge we had was to track the progress. I mean, communicate frequently, right? A communication part. Those things were really challenging for us, and all those HR challenges are different things, right? So for that purpose, and we had to build our very own bot. We call it Spiral bot, right? When I mean, innovation always happen when there is a need, right? So that's what that was an opportunity for us. We spent some time on that. So Spiral bot is something that tracks each and everything of an employee when remote working remotely, right? So I can sign in there. I can I mean, let people know that I'm out, right? And everything is tracked by that company. So that was one of the key thing that we did till then. And another part was the I'll like to insist, emphasis more on the team. So one of the challenging part of the team was to set up a work environment in the home, right? We everyone used to come to office and work there, right? Having a separate office set up in home is pretty difficult, especially in Kathmandu, right? So you live in 1 or 2 BHK home, right? And that was the one of the very challenging first challenge that we faced. And gradually over the time, maybe we took probably 2 or 3 months, and then at the end we were basically we challenged. Uh, Basically we were able to overcome that. Okay, so that was the two different thing that we first challenge, and gradually we conquered those.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, when you talk about that, the setup, right? I also remember, although it feels like it was many years ago, right, when we first started working remotely after pandemic. At that time, also, I think one of the hard time I was having in the beginning was that just trying to actually like work as if I'm working in an office, right? This routine, right? But that is not possible because you have a kid at home, you have other people at home, and you have the line is it's not as clear, right? Like the routine is not as clear. So I think in the beginning, definitely, I felt like that was a challenge for me, like and that gave me extra pressure. Like I want to do it, but I know because of the setup at home I'm not able to do it. So slowly, I also got hang of it, and I think we've reached at that point where, you know, we've been able to practically implement or practically like work out our schedule, be more flexible, right? Because of the setup, we know that it's not going to be same as if we're working in office. At least the routine of it. And another thing that we've also started doing, right, is that before, like myself, I used to come to office and give my interview, and we'd meet face to face. And when you're meeting face to face, there's certain things that probably you would like know a bit more about the person. But now, post pandemic, and also because we're recruiting globally as well,
Right.
so we do a lot of virtual interviews, right?
That's right.
What are the challenges in that, like in terms of recruitment, in terms of finding the right talent? um, what are the most recent challenges that you have seen? Because I know both of you are very involved in finding potential candidates. We sit through long hours of interviews, different rounds of interviews.
Right.
So
Right.
what are the like recent challenges in regards to that, like?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely. So there have been many challenges. I mean, on the recruitment side as well. So couple of things is uh, the new recruitment is especially in the junior positions. I would say a brand new generation is jumping into the workplace. So they are very different from the generation before. So we have to adapt to it, right? And that adaptation is taking a little bit of time. So we have to change ourselves on that one. And a couple of other things as well. For example, reaching out to the prospective candidates as well. Like we also have to tell them what they are getting from us, not just what we want from them. why they should like us, not just why we like them. So that is another challenge that we have. And the other thing that I would say is, with the very fast changing pace of technology that we have currently right now, many of the prospective candidates also seem to be confused on like which pool to land on. And similarly, we are also get sidetracked somehow into like, oh, doing this or that. So that clarity in terms of what we actually need, and also the clarity on the prospective candidate side on what I actually want to do, that has been a little bit clouded recently. And I think that will, that will be fixed, because we are very good at adapting to the change. And that's what I really feel is, the world is changing, everything in the technology is changing, everyone is changing, the new generation is coming in, and we have to adapt. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to the change, and that's what we have to adopt ourselves to.
Yeah. So when you talked about, because I've also sat in an interview, and where at the end of in the actual interview, I ended up like giving counseling to the person, like, because that person had applied for a certain job,
Right.
but his interest was something else.
Oh.
And I ended up like counseling him for like a 30 to 1 hour, like, okay, do this,
Right.
because he was a student and he was just exploring, and he did not have that clarity. He just wanted to join a company, but
Right.
his purpose of joining was not so clear. So
That's very
yeah,
true. That has been a lot of, that's a big problem actually, not having the clarity on what I actually want to do. It's a big problem. And also, in our fun fact, like in our company, we hired like one candidate, and she was really good in the management, right? Okay, so she was doing really good, and later on, we figured out that she actually wanted to do the creative designs. So polar opposite ends, right? But still, like, okay, I studied this, but I want to do this. Which one do I follow? So she was confused for like 4 years before finally she decided which one to pick. So, those kinds of stories we have even in ourselves. So we cannot just blame those new candidates.
yeah.
And thank you for counseling. We will need to do more of that.
Yeah, and actually enjoyed it. So maybe, yeah, that could be
Exactly.
something that we could do.
That's what we should do
Yeah.
with our experience.
Uh,
That's what we should be doing.
yeah.
And helping them as we can, because they cannot be blamed for not knowing.
Yeah. On that note, I mean, I would like to add something. So, recruitment itself is very, very challenging thing, right? I mean, I'll say it's a science, right? So probably the easiest part of recruitment would be the freshers, right? So we just need a foundation. They need to have a solid foundation of what they studied, right? That's all we need, right? And probably the passion and the eagerness to learn, right? That's the only thing that needed for the fresher, right? But for the experienced one, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it depends upon the team, right? I mean, it's not only the skill set you have or the experience, right? Sometimes, I mean, we always encourage to build a team, cross-functional team, right? You need fire as well, and you need water as well, right? You cannot simply have a fire in your company. I mean, 90% of fire it will burn, right?
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, it's depends upon the individual as well as the team, right? What kind of team and what kind of members are we looking for a team, right? So this I mean, this is a very challenging job, and we always I mean, before the recruitment we always discuss about the with of course with the SR team, that what kind of personnel, what kind of mindset, and what kind of attitude we need for that particular role, right? And we plan through thoroughly and look for those skills. Of course, technical side is definitely there, right? We have a set of process for that. But yeah, so mindset and other aspect are very, very important.
So I understand that Arun also he's like, probably he takes more interviews in our office, probably, like, because his team is very big, right? The technology team is very big, so there's a lot of people coming in, a lot of hiring happening. So I'm sure you're probably one of the people that have like spent hours and hours interviewing, right? And we also even go to colleges to interview. So any funny stories that you have experienced, anything that while sitting in an interview? Any funny thing that happened, or anything that you can share? That might.
I mean, not a particular incident, but judging a talent in an hour is pretty crazy stuff to do, right? I mean, we can only guess, right? We cannot. I mean, 100%. We cannot be 100% sure that this guy or this girl would be the what we are trying to get, right? So, I mean, so mostly we luckily um, we do right guess, right? But sometimes we are completely off, right? So it happened couple of times actually. We anticipated that this guy or this girl has this kind of potential, and in a week or so we found out that, I mean, this is completely different person that we previously talked. So those are the few things, but in overall, I mean, it is a great experience because, yeah, you need to, I mean, you get to talk with different people, right? Probably 5% or 2-3% people ended up in the job, right? So you have an opportunity to talk to different people from different background, different part of the world. It's just a good experience that I have.
Yeah. And I think you've been doing this for a long time,
Yeah.
right? So like there are people who like I usually like I cannot sit in an interview more than a half an hour. Like if I know that person, like you kind of sense it, right? And then I don't have the patient level like you have to like because you said 1 hour is not enough, right? But for me that 1 hour is like because I've just recently been doing that, like probably past 2-3 years I've been doing that. So like I must it shows that you have a great patient level to be able to go through that process with many people. So now let's coming into like, let's say we've done passive recruitment and everything, because I know we're a global team. We have people from different countries that work in a single objective or in a project. So once we get them, right, once they come, they are onboarded. What are like the initial challenges that you guys have faced, like when trying to bring all team members together? Like what are post they've been onboarded, what are the challenges in a global team?
Oh, you want me to go? Oh, yeah, sure. So you're saying onboarding?
Yeah, so you've
Yeah.
onboarded
In the
them.
So
context of global
yeah,
context.
yeah. So in context of the global operations, so there are certain challenges that they have to go through. Like, so first we onboard. So first is the time zone, right? Because there will be a team where the team members are working on different time zones at different times on their local areas. So to adjust to that schedule and to know their team members is kind of challenging. And sometimes you'll be working with the team members just on the chat and the emails, and not having that personal connection is another challenge that they also face. And there are certain things like not knowing what exactly. I mean, they will know what they are doing, but sometimes they will miss to know why they are doing this, and that's another big challenge. Like in most of our projects, I see like many people will know, okay, I'm doing this A, B, C, D, but why is something that lacks a lot. So those are different challenges that comes along, but those are the ones that will help them grow along the way. So
So those are the challenges. Like what uh, can we do, or what have we done to address that, to minimize that challenges?
yeah, absolutely. So we have carried on with different many different approaches, right? First of all, we focus on uh, many different things, and one of our goal is when somebody is onboarded at Spiralogics, we invest our time to make sure that they have enough soft skills to sustain at the workplace, right? So we focus on certain soft skills that is very important for any professional to succeed in his or her career. So we really focus on 5 C's: communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and confidence. Those are the 5 C's that you definitely need. Those are 5 soft skills that you definitely need to succeed in a workplace. So we have designed some courses like for communications, verbal and written. For collaborations, we have set up different collaborative tools, and we train on them as well. And we do different programs to increase their critical thinking part, encourage them to be more creative and all that, and do different programs to build their confidence as well. So in a way, in first couple of months, we are investing on them to build the soft skills that they will need to succeed at Spiralogics.
So, what about you, Arun? Like, because those soft skills, right? Especially people who are just starting out their career, especially coming from a technical background. Like, what specific challenges have you seen in your team?
Okay, so first challenge is probably, so yeah, so there were initially, right now we have a team member working from different countries, right? We have team member from India, Philippines, Nepal, US, right? So first challenges we had was to not call it a Indian team or a Philippines team, right? And that was probably the first challenge, because when we start calling the uh, I mean distributing team by the geographical thing, right, and all those cultural barrier, and it will be very challenging for them to gel up together in a team, right? Because software development is not a, is definitely a teamwork. You cannot single-handedly build a software, that right? So first challenge was that. So subconscious bias was there, right? So initially when we create a team with, let's say, 6 different people, okay, from 4 different countries, then there definitely be some kind of conflict, right? First challenge would be you have to learn original jokes, right? It's very important to have a light environment in a group. So that was the challenge. And right now, like Saunak said, we had a couple of workshops which addresses the diversity, how to work with a different team together, right? So all those kind of workshops and all had helped us to achieve that, right? Right now, I can confidently say that we are a global team, and we work as a team beyond the geography.
So, definitely trying to break that barrier that we have to trying to overcome geographically. Yeah, we're in
Yeah.
different place, but as members, we want to, like you said, like that we're missing that human side or that connection, personal connection. So, working towards making sure that that is, we try to overcome that. So we've talked about different aspects. We talked about like the challenges. We talked about recruitment, and once they're onboarded, different challenges. So we know Spiralogics is a technology company, right? Technology company, and we work on various different projects.
Right.
So, Sona, can you provide a brief overview of the technological landscape within Spiralogics and how it contributes to the company's success?
Our technological landscape, as in the tech stack that we use, or oh yeah, absolutely. So so since we are a software development company, right? So technology definitely plays the major role. It's in the front line of everything, right? It decides everything that we do. The technical landscape, it also defines our culture. It also defines the quality of the product that we produce, and it also defines the longevity of the products that we and the services that we provide to our customers. So one thing that I really wanted to point, one example, is, for example, it's at Spiralogics, we have a culture of focus on the problem first, try to find the solution first before deciding onto which tech stack to use, right? We do not go to and say, okay, this is the project and we are going to do this in Python, all right? So then that. So first we try to understand the problem. We build the solution like, okay, this is how we're going to solve this problem. And then Arun will come in, he is our solutions architect, and he will come in and say, okay, to solve these problems, will these building blocks these are the blocks that I need, and for this block, this tech stack is the best equipped to solve that particular problem. So that completely changes the way that we look, because if we think, okay, so I want to use this blockchain technology to solve this problem, then it will go completely wrong way. It will not be sustainable. It will not long run. But if we say, oh, we have this problem, but we are solving this problem, but to solve this problem, blockchain is the best technology to implement, then it will go on long. So we go that way. Technology stack comes after the solution, not before.
So, talk about technology.
Hmm.
Of course, AI has been, actually, it's been the buzzword
Hmm.
for past few years, but it's recently with generative AI,
Correct.
it's been even more prominent, right?
Hmm.
So, how has AI been like Spiralogics and AI, right?
Hmm.
So, uh, like, how much of AI projects do we do, or how is AI incorporated in the work that we do,
Yeah.
like the products or the service that we provide?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you asked. So, with the boom of the generative AI, it has been a buzzword recently that everyone knows about it. But one thing that might be misunderstood or misrepresented is it's new. AI is not new, right? It has been there for a long time, but definitely it made a leaps and bounds of progress in recent years, especially in the generative AI field. But as Spiralogics, as software development company, we have been exposed to different AI fields from the beginning, but not in the generative AI yet, obviously, right? But on the other fields like decision making AI, right? Decision making models, optimization models, forecasting, simulations. So those things we have been exposed, and we have utilized them in the past since 2013 on several of our projects to help our customer meet their needs. And that's the thing. But with the recent generative AI, we are much more energized now. Like, okay, so because that thing is a wow, right? It's amazing. It's great. So if we can inject that awesome piece of technology into our products, into our services, to our customers, they will be happy. And in turn, they will make us help grow, and we can provide them with the best services that's available. And there are many use cases where generative AI can help lot many users, lot many people around the world benefit from it. So we are really excited for it, and that's why we have started a new initiative that's called SAM, Spiralogics AI model. And the whole idea of that model is to inject the generative AI into the business values and business needs. And we're really, really excited about that initiative. And Arun is leading that initiative along the way with our other architect, Maninder Work. And they have been doing outstanding work. We have the POC ready. We're already talking to our clients about its potentials. I'm just excited to see what it is going to unlock very, very soon.
Okay, so I'm also pretty excited. I'm sure our viewers are also excited. So you said that Arvind is leading this team, this initiative, right? So like, of course, you've talked about how it will help our clients and everyone, but I wanted to ask Arun, like, that's that same model, could we use it in our company as well? And do you think it will help us as well? Because I know we use on our daily basis, we do use different tools and technology
Yeah,
for our own work as well. Do you think that will also help us?
yeah, definitely. So it has different use cases, right? And it has, I mean, a lot of potential, right? So primarily, I mean, we of course started this project to solve the problem of the client, right? So we have a medical, I mean, healthcare client in the healthcare domain, right? We wanted to implement that thing in there, right? But I mean, past week we did a Spirathon, right? That's the event, right? So which was primarily focused on the public data, right? And talking to the different partners from that event, we realized that it can be implemented in a public sector, in a government level, community level as well, right? So we're talking on that particular note, right? And we are trying to implement that SAM model in the public domain as well, so that it can help the different organization working on data to extract the information from the documents and the other sources that are scattered all over the places, right? So we are also thinking of that. So yeah, so potential is limitless, and right now we are exploring in an exploring phase. We definitely will implement that in healthcare, but we'll also see what can be done in the other sector as well.
Right. I think to add on to that, I think what she meant was, what can she use it?
Okay.
Right. So to answer that, I can add one more thing is, yes, we are also thinking of that in a way. So one use case where you are directly related, so maybe you can connect is, for example, like so you have you work on the policy and procedures, right? You create the policies, so you feed all of your policies to SAM. You cannot put that in ChatGPT or anywhere, right? Obviously, it's a internal confidential data. So, but you can feed to SAM because it's internal. It does not go anywhere. So if you feed all of your policy and procedures to SAM, and any of our employees comes to Spiralbot and asks, "Hey, what's the how many maternity leaves do I get?" So instead of going pages as pages over, oh, how many maternity day leaves I get, you can simply ask Spiralbot and get the response immediately. So those kinds of use cases are still there. So we are also exploring in that area as well. Internal use, definitely.
Yeah, and another one more implementation would be for the developers. Okay, so I mean it's been a probably almost a decade we have been advocating about the wiki, about the knowledge base, right? So usually I started my career, I mean, in Spiralogics probably 2012, right? So I faced a lot of bugs, a lot of different troubleshooting. I did all those things, right? Now, yeah, I mean, a new guy comes into Spiralogics and he also faces those kind of problem, right? So what if we store all those knowledges into one database or one warehouse, right? And new guy can simply ask because I mean it's different because you can do that from the chat GPT as well, but it's a completely different thing, right? Our technology, our our list of tools that we use, and it's specific, the problem is specific to us, right? And if we can do that, then a new guy can simply chat with Sam and probably can fix the box pretty quickly, right?
Right.
That can also be one
Yeah,
of the
I mean,
use
if
cases.
we're able to do that, I think it will save a lot of time, and probably the time could be spent a bit more productively. And I think if once that is implemented, when that comes into practice, I think that will be like probably a game changer probably
Yeah,
for
definitely.
Spiralogics, right? How we
Right.
do work. I think that will like help us go in a completely like high like different direction and help us achieve productivity a bit more.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to focus more on is like when you send, it will be a game changer, right? But the change happens gradually, right? So it's not like it will happen tomorrow and you'll be wow. So it happens slowly but gradually, and that's what we need to anticipate as well. Like for example, Spiralbot is already wow, like like but it has been like slowly growing, right? So that's why we don't see it. It has been evolving. So, but if it was like yesterday we didn't have anything, but today boom, there was Spiralbot with all these features already in, then we will be wow, right? But it doesn't happen that way. The change comes gradually. It comes slowly, and we have to adapt to it accordingly.
Yeah, definitely. Like it starts with certain features, and then as the needs
Right,
arises,
exactly.
as we face different obstacles, then then we're able to identify. Okay, this is a problem that maybe I have not anticipated, and maybe we
Exactly.
can work on that. So you talked about SAM, and you also talked about how we can also incorporate that model into extracting like or analyzing or gathering data sets, right,
Right.
for the public, for general public. So that is something probably, and you also talk about Spirathon. So those all come under our CSR activities, right? And one of the recent CRS activities, so something that we've been working on is Nepal Sambat App and algorithm, right? And I'm sure a lot of our viewers have like they've heard of Nepal Sambat, they've heard through through their friends or through some media, um, but maybe I would also like to take this opportunity, maybe. I know because you guys have worked closely on that and you've
Mm-hmm.
been part of that since the beginning. I'd
Right.
like to first ask Sonak
Mm-hmm.
to share a bit more about the Nepal Sambat app and the
Uh-huh.
algorithm and how it came into existence.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll try to keep it short. So basically, we started building Nepal Sambat App, and Arun was working with like different community leaders to build that on, and we had to enter the data into the system because there was nothing automatic at that time. Like this was 4 or 5 years back, and they come back with a problem saying, "Hey, the calendar is published only a week before." So we literally had 1 week window to enter the data for the entire year, and that was very very problematic. He tried different options. I think he can explain more much better than I do in that one. But they tried like data entry screens, APIs, Excel upload, like they tried different many things, but it was just crazy. And it came to me and it was in my mind, hey, how about I automate this thing, right? So that clicked in, and then I started to research more and collaborated with many people, and together with our team worked on that to build an algorithm that completely automates the Nepal Sambat calendar. And during the research, a couple of important things that I really, really found was, and I do not blame many, people who do not understand about it at all, because I was one of them, is I also used to think Nepal Sambat is a Newari calendar, or for people from the Newa community. It's a calendar of those people. And I'm from the same community. Okay, so I'm a Newa, right? So I'm a Newa as well. So I thought it was just ours. And later on, I was so surprised to figure out, and that's where Arun and guys came in as well, was like, wow, it's not. Nepal Sambat is not the calendar of only Newa people. It's of all Nepali people. It has been like that for thousands of years. Just in last 100 years, it somehow got stereotyped as Newari people's calendar. And that was something that I really wanted to push it through. And since Arun is from a different community than Newa, so I was like, Arun, like you also need to spread that word across the board, because if I become like all the face of the new algorithm again, now that will make it much more into the legitimacy of saying, oh, this is a Newar calendar being worked on by the Newa people, and even the algorithm is developed by the Newa people. It will create that unnecessary cloud which we wanted to settle down, right? So we have Arun involved, Maninder work from India is involved. So I thought like, okay, how about we all come together, because this is our common thing, man. Like it's not different. You enjoy Dasai, I enjoy Dasai, right? It's the same festival throughout Nepal. It's not only me who celebrates Dasai on Dasami of which month, some month. But that's was the fascinating thing about it, and I really enjoyed working on the algorithm, and so did our team. And finally, we were able to crack it, and it was not sophisticated as we used to think, because we used to think it's very very sophisticated, because like only very few people knew how to even now, like even very few people knew like how to say, oh, on this day it's Dutiya and it ends at 5:35 p.m., right? Only very few people will give those sites. I thought it was like very sophisticated thing that they are doing inside the room, but we cracked it, and it's not that difficult. It's very simple. So I'm
So you
yep.
mentioned that Arun has worked closely. He's probably even been more involved since the
In the
beginning.
initial
Yeah,
stage,
initial stage.
yes,
Yeah. So
yes.
you were part of the research as well as we developed the app. So, what has been your experience in that? And could you share more light into this project, like in terms of the challenges you might have
Right.
faced?
Yeah, so first challenges was definitely the realization that this is a Nepali calendar, not a New York calendar, right?
Yeah.
Just like Sonak said, that was the first challenge that we had to go through. Okay, and being a technology guy, and everyone from our team is from technology background, so technology was the easiest part. So doing all those mathematical things was the easiest part, right? But the hardest part was to find the knowledge base, let's say, where do I go and search for the certain part of the logic, right? That was the main thing. And I mean, initially we had had a collaboration with a couple of people as well, right? But they had some limitation because they know some part, religious part, some know the cultural part, some knows the a bit of the Nepal Sambat, but collectively we need knowledge that is from very bulk part view, right? So that was the challenge. And unfortunately, we had to refer a different calendar that has been used throughout the world, right? For example, Chinese calendar, Hebrew calendar, all those kind of stuff. And then our understanding about the calendar and how, what days, what year is, what month is, those kind of things gradually happen, right? So we came to understand. And then we came back to the Nepal Sambat, and it was pretty clear, obvious that this is a scientific thing. We can do that. We can solve this problem. So that was the journey. So basically, only challenge we had was the where to go and whom to ask, right? That was the most challenging part that we faced.
So in that process, probably it was a learning experience as well, right?
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
part of our culture and it's something that it's there, but we've not really paid
Definitely.
attention to, or maybe not even thought about it,
Right.
right? So, um, definitely. So, what is next? Like we've built algorithm, right? The app is there. I know. We had tithimithi.com as well.
Right.
That's part of that. How do you separate the three, or do they come under the same?
Three as
Uh,
in?
like the algorithm, the app,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
tithimithi. How are they different?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we say app and then we say algorithm. So,
Right, right.
like, how do you differentiate it between those three?
Right, right. Now, so the difference is now you can think of algorithm as a brain, right? So it's the brain behind all of these. So algorithm is a different in a sense that, and that's one clarity that I wanted to make is because many people do not understand what algorithm is as well. Like so basically, algorithm is like a brain. It's telling you how to calculate this thing, what tithi it is, when does the sun rise, when does the tithi ends, when does your new moon start, and all that. So all that information, all the calculations, the brain is the algorithm, right? Now other things like the app is a face, right? App is a face. Tithimiti.com is a face. So those are the faces. Like we can show in the different faces. Now even in the faces, like there are different ways that you write your dates. Like you can write 1144 Cholaga Puni, right? Or you can write in different like numerical formats or different things. Like you can say, the April 24, 2024 or 2024 slash 04 slash 21 or different way. So that's the representation of the date. So the representation of the date is like so it's like okay, so a visible part of your face, like for example your nose. So you're representing, okay, I'm this is my main feature, right? So that's the representation part. So that's how I take it is all these things like apps or website or tithimiti.com widget. We also have a widget, amazing one. So all these things are the faces, but the brain behind all of these is the algorithm. So that the same brain has been working for the all of those, and it's exciting because it has been a work of like a lot of work, like Arun just said. Is research is fun because that's what we like doing. Like technology was the, even though we had to do it a lot, but we enjoyed it, so it was the easiest part. Like literally, I have read a book called Calendrical Calculations, which is like 1,000 pages thick, and I've read that book from first to the last page. So in a way, like we have become experts in different calendrical calculations, like Islamic or Chinese and all that. So that was the fun part. Now the tough part is making that understand to everybody else, and that's where like Arun comes into play, and like we need people like you who are good at communicating, because we are the tech side of the people, right? We have built it, it's there, we know what it does, but what it is and how to the general public to take it out, I think we'll need the experts like you to do that.
Okay. So now I want to move on to, because I know a lot of our viewers are probably aspiring software engineers as well, right? And whenever our team we go to any colleges in Kathmandu, a lot of times we get the question like, okay, they ask us like, okay, what technology is, is like has a high demand, right? It has more scope, job scope, right? And then is it Python, or is it like they have different technology that they ask? So what, like in that situation, what would you say, like as a technical person, and also like if they want to stand out in the competitive job market, what set of skills do you think they should have?
You want to go first this
Sure,
time? Like,
I'll go
because
first.
he has been complaining, oh, you answered all of my things.
Okay, so
All right.
okay, so starting with the foundation, right? Okay, so I mean, for, like I said earlier, I mean, recruitment for the fresher is pretty straightforward, right? There is not much bells and whistles involved there. So the the most important part is the foundation. Okay, so college is so I mean let me add one more instances that we had. So uh, probably a couple of years back, right? We used to hire for the interns, of course, interns and fresher, who are not graduated from college. Okay, so that was the case before, and I mean, since we have responsibility, I mean, even though it's a small part, but we have responsibility for our youth, right? So we came to realize that I mean, if students started focusing on their career very early, they miss out a lot of different fun that
Right.
they can have in the colleges.
Right.
Okay, so they miss some classes, miss some. I mean, there can be lot of different funs they will be missing. So we insist them to complete the college. Okay, don't do, not missing any classes. Okay, which is the hardest part, right? I know, but that is the first thing, because what I'm trying to say is because that builds the foundation. Okay, so foundation very important. Foundation can be anything, HTML knowledge, that can be a query, TSQL, that can be programming, that can be algorithm, data structure, it can be anything, right? So at least the foundation should be clear. On the top of that, okay, so I mean, it depends upon the interest. They can pick any technology. I'm insisting any technology because they just they need to understand, they need to learn how to solve the problem. That's the main goal, right? So with any technology, they can learn about the problems, and they can practice solving that problem, and they can directly jump into the companies, right? So so they landed, I mean, so they landed in any software company. The software company first sees is their how good is the basics, and then they go for the any technology, additional technology, if they have any. That is secondary part. So they should focus on the foundation. They should learn the things taught in the college very carefully and very, I mean, that's the fundamental.
Yeah, I mean, we also go to different colleges, like we participate in different recruitment programs, right? And we have students who have just in like second year, or who just completed their first semester. Like, they want to like have us take their interview for internship role, right? And like you said, like they will have a hard time juggling between the time, because same time they're learning at colleges, they have yet to explore, and they won't have that time to give to organization, and will not be able to like help them grow because of the time limit. But what about you, Sonak? What skills do you think they should have to like stand out in to be competitive, because it is a competitive
Yeah, absolutely. It is a very competitive world. And like Arun said, like, the basic foundation of what you are in is very important. And on to add on top of what he already said is, I think, in context of Nepal especially, I was visiting a couple of colleges and looking at their brochures and all that. And I think it's partly the colleges over here, not all, I would say, but some of the colleges, when looking at the curriculum, it looks like they are preparing the students to go to the job market. I mean, it's not education, but it's more of a vocational program, meaning they are training, not educating. So they have like courses like bachelor's in AI. Like, AI is a part of computer science, right? So, but the whole bachelor's degree cannot be in, like, you can do master's in AI, very specific, like, and all that. You can do PhD and all that. But bachelor's basically means the broader range, right? That's what bachelor's degree is about. But even in the bachelor's, if you are specifying someone into deep into that, so basically you are meaning you are training them. So they have like bachelor's in multimedia design or bachelor's in graphic design. And I even heard there is something called bachelor's in entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
So when you are training kids into that special, like, training them into the specific area, then they know what they know, but nothing more than that. So education should be beyond that. They should know, like, so they should know, like, beyond that, so that, because it has to hold them up for the rest of their career, which is 40, 60 years long, right? So I think that education also needs to be a little bit adjusted, something in that range, because one of the problem that I see, even in the interviews, is like some of the students, they'll be like, oh, I want to do this, nothing else. Like, I want to do JavaScript, even very particular about JavaScript, like Angular JS, nothing else. Right, so those things will be there. Yes, there are different kinds of technologies. They are always evolving, right? What's next, right? So you got to be prepared for all that. So when you have foundation, it will be like someone asked me, "Hey, do you know Ruby on Rails?" And I answered that guy, "I make Ruby on Rails." I was like, if I have foundation enough, then I have confidence. Like, if I don't know that, I'll make that one. So that's the one thing. Now, sorry, I sidetrack a little bit. Your question was,
What
what are the skills?
skills?
What
Yeah.
skills? Exactly. Now, in the technology field, apart from those hard skills, you really have to stand out amongst the crowd. It's a competitive world, right? Like, if you are not different from the rest of the crowd, no one is going to notice you. So, a couple of things that you really have to keep in mind is work on your soft skills. Those are important no matter what you do. Work on your soft skills, keep working on them, and try to differentiate yourself from the rest of the crowd. Why you? Ask yourself that question. Why me? Right? Why should Nisha interview me and not somebody else around here? Right? So you have to differentiate yourself among that. Hey, I got this. That's why I'm here. So that you somehow have to differentiate from the very early age, because the next generation is very, very competitive. If you don't stand out, you'll miss out.
Definitely, like you talked about bachelor's in entrepreneurship. Like back when I was doing my bachelor's, it was a 3 credit hour course, right? Bachelor's. So
Right?
like now it's so specialized. So before we wrap up, right, I have a final question for both of you. So any final thoughts or insights you would like to share to anyone who's watching? Any advice or anything that you like final words that you like to share with our viewers?
Okay, I'll go first.
Please.
All right. All right. So, okay. So, right now, there are a lot of options. Okay, you can get a lot of different options. You might get missed out, or you might get lost in the world of internet. Okay. So, my one and only suggestion would be, if you are trying to be a, let's say, programmer, okay, and find a mentor. Basically, mentor as in, it can be digital mentor, it can be a person, it can be a book, it can be anything, but you have to have that mentor with you, right? So that you can follow. And another would be, if you follow that mentor, you'll be get updated about what's up, what coming up, and what they are doing, right? So networking would be another thing. So try to reach out to the people who are working in the similar field. Go to them, reach out to them, shoot the email, say hi in the LinkedIn or in a Facebook, but try to connect with them. Okay, so that will be a that will make a very big difference in your career ahead, because someone who has already been there, and you'll get to create a path for that, right? So yeah, so finding a mentor and a networking would be a suggestion that I would like to give the audience.
Great suggestions. What about you, Saunak?
All
Any
right. How much
final?
time do we have?
Not a lot.
Yeah, I can keep on going. And this suggestion is it's for young
Yeah,
students.
young
Young
students.
students. Okay. All right, so that's great. So, all right, so the very foremost advice that I pretty much I give everyone is do not jump into the execution directly. Many people have that habit. If you get a task, you jump on it, you try to get it done, right? So jumping into execution is scary sometimes. So I always have this thing is, hey, you got to plan it first. You got to learn the things that you don't know, and then you execute. Okay, so plan, learn, and execute. You got to go in that path. Otherwise, you might fall off a cliff, right? Because you might not have learned that you need a parachute to jump first. So, so those things are very important. So that's one very important advice that I really like to give. And also another advice for budding and emerging students is one thing that I've seen is many when you're just going out of the college, right? So you have this tendency of thinking that I'm going to change the world in 6 months. That energy is good. You got to have that optimistic attitude. Yes, absolutely. But what you also have to also know is your career is a long time. Okay, so I've been in the IT field for 28 years and I still haven't made the impact that I want to yet. I'm still working on it, right? And I still have, at least 12 years left on me, right? So just for the career. After that, I have post-career things that I want to do. So, so you have to think in that way. Is like your career is a long way, so you have to plan it through. You have to work it through. You have to learn it through. And do not get disappointed if some things not work out because everything will not work out. Even if you make a plan, everything in your plan will never work out. Something in your plan will fail. Just take that and just don't worry about it. Like just get disappointed, and move along, right? So that's what gives us many people because what happens is many people tend to get scared away from planning things because they have that fear of thinking, what if my plan fails? I'll get disappointed, I'll get sad, right? So because of that fear, they will just leave out planning the whole thing because they are looking from the lens of the deterministic way. Either it's black or white, it's true or false. But if you look at the world, nothing is deterministic. Like, we are not good or bad. I'm gray in a sense that I have good qualities, I have bad qualities. I'm a gray. It's not, you cannot decide anything 0 or 1. Even in physics, we might think like, oh, all that, like if you go at the quantum level, everything is probabilistic, right? Everything is a probabilistic. So if you look from the probabilistic lens, hey, there is always chance of something happening, right? Hey, I do this, but there is a chance that I might fail on this. Then what that will give you is, hey, I tried, but there was a chance that I would fail, so I failed. That's okay. I'll move on. I'll go to the next one, right? So that will help you reduce the disappointment, encourage you to plan more, and even out of your plan, even like many of it failed, that's okay. Don't get disappointed. Move on, right? So that will help you to grow yourself, not get disappointed. And if you plan and fail 60%, you will still get more things done than going unplanned and trying to do everything haphazardly. Because at the time you are trying to figure things out, on the spot, which is much more difficult. So I really want to say students is that, try to look from that lens. Don't get disappointed. Don't get too impatient. Work on yourself, grow your soft skills, grow your passion, grow your enthusiasm into the things, and work on it. And when you work on it, do not just go and directly work on it. First plan, then learn, then execute. Plan, learn, and then execute.
Definitely. Planning is something I think we can learn a lot from you. Like, you're very particular about your planning. So, on that note, we've come to the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your wisdom with us. And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you very much, Nisha.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.